Perfect. So let's take this story, and I have this supercomputer called Musette that runs the ship called the Fidanza, which means the true, the fidel, the term is Italian. So on the Fidanza, Musette is the SC, the shipboard computer that runs everything, and it's a female computer. And here we get this character called Kanga, who is found in this Shoni shrine. There's this, apparently 1,000 years before and a few hundred years before the Shon were discovered by humanity, this ship, this escape pod or whatnot, crashed onto the planet, and it's worshipped as a sign from the Shon at what they call the waiting wall. They don't have a wailing wall like they do in Jerusalem. They have the waiting wall. So when the crew of the Fidanza gets to Shoni, they go and they find this, and all of a sudden, just like an Alien, the pod opens up. Someone touches something or whatnot, the pod opens up, and there is Kanga. And I call him Aloysius Kanga. Aloysius Omar Kanga is his real name in my universe. And he basically tells a very similar story. Instead of the first church, it's the third church. Instead of the whatever the head of the government was called, I call him the outkeeper or something. And I rework and deepen the story. I make the original Dick characters within the retelling of the story more interesting. But by the end of the book, we get a side-by-side comparison, and we find out that Musette is flawed. Musette should have easily spotted this stuff. Project Gutenberg and its successor systems or websites or whatever in plus space is the internet. It should have been an easy comparison, but Musette is fooled by the fact that when she was recording Kanga's words, Kanga was putting words in between the Dick words and was expanding things. And it shows that even though Musette is an artificial intelligence, and some of these shipboard computers, once they retire, have been granted the right to be placed inside the bodies of androids and become physical so that they can interact. Because we get the sense, it's said earlier that Musette may have been in love with the Fidanza's prior captain to Elias Walker. So that no matter how human these artificial intelligences are, they still can't get the obvious, because it's quite obvious when Walker and some of the other people see the stories side by side in hologram form that Musette should have easily recognized that it was a lie. And so here I'm giving the critique of artificial intelligence, even 1,500 years from now, that there is still something uniquely human. And it gets back to why there's this stratified society, why when we get these essential characters that are created, these essential humans that are created in the end by Walker, the book is an exploration of what it's like to be human. And also,
I wanted to ask you, do you think anything that is created by human is in some ways always going to be human, or do you think that it can transpose itself into something else?
It can transpose itself, but it will be flawed, because if you have a flawed maker, those flaws are going to be there. And we see that even in the Shon. The Shon, for example, are godlike, but they have to be flawed, because if Baal is their creation, Baal is certainly flawed. He doesn't grasp certain concepts of humanities, like privacy or fair play.
But it's perfect, as
yes. And so do a lot of characters like Hal. And we have the Hal 9000 analogs in Baal and Musette in different ways. Musette is clearly flawed, but she's not murderously flawed. Baal is clearly flawed. Even the Shon have to be flawed, because they don't seem to realize that once that what's called the extenders put on by Walker in what's called the theater of existence, he's going to do this murderous thing. Well, maybe they do. We don't really know. But clearly, whether they do or they don't know that that's going to be the reaction, there's something wrong with them for subjecting Walker to this thing where he ends up killing all these people. There's something ethically flawed within these godlike creatures.